We're talking draft targets today, Steeler Nation. My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. Today, I'm going to be reacting to ESPN draft analyst Matt Miller's list of the top first-round draft prospects in the 2023 NFL Draft. He had 19 names. 10 of them pertain to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to be breaking down those 10 names in just a second. But first, make sure you join the crew here. We're only 123 subscribers away from 24K. And once we get there, we're going to be doing a special promotion here on Steelers Talk. So go ahead. If you haven't already, you love the black and gold. Click that subscribe button and join the Yinzer family today. All right, so before we get into this list here, let's go over the Steelers' team needs heading into the early rounds here of the NFL Draft. Because remember, we're just talking first-round draft targets today. Inside linebacker is a big one. Defensive tackle, nose tackle specifically. Cornerback at either nickel or outside. Left tackle would be nice to get. Strong safety and slot receiver. So we got 10 names here. They're just covering a couple of these positions. Inside linebacker, there's not going to be one on this list because Matt Miller doesn't think any of the inside linebackers this year are worth that pick. Same thing with strong safety, but we are going to be talking about left tackle, defensive tackle, cornerback, and slot receivers today. And speaking of slot receivers, let's go to the first name here, Jaxon-Smith Njigba out of Ohio State University. Did not play in 2022 due to injuries, but man, in 2021, he was bloody fantastic. To me, he is a true slot receiver, okay? I don't think he has necessarily the outside quicks to play on the outside. I think he's a really great route running technician on the inside. He's a good run blocker. At 6'1", 200 pounds, he's going to be able to give you some nice run support in terms of blocking on early downs. This guy reminds me a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions, one of the best slot receivers in the league. He might not be the burner that you look for sometimes in your slot receiver, but if you're looking for a big slot receiver like the Steelers are, Smith and Njigba could be a good fit. And next up on Miller's list here, Jordan Addison. So right now, Miller only has Jaxon-Smith Njigba and Jordan Addison as first-round draft targets for the Steelers. Jordan Addison played with Kenny Pickett with the Pitt Panthers, won the Blitnikoff Award in 2021 with Kenny Pickett throwing him the football. For those of you that don't know, that's the national award for the best receiver in the country. Last year with the USC Trojans, 59 catches, 875 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Really a good year in my opinion. My comp for him is Deontay Johnson. Great route runner. I think he's got a little bit better body control and hands than Deontay has, but overall, I think Jordan Addison is a really darn good player, and he should be taken in the first round. But I don't think that wide receiver should be the main priority for the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? I think if they want to trade down maybe and grab one, then that's fine. But at number 17, I would rather either go offensive tackle or cornerback. And if all the top guys at those two positions are gone by pick 17, I would trade down and maybe land one of these guys. Let's compare these two guys because I think that it's very interesting comparison here. You look at the 2021 stats when Jordan Addison won the Blitnikoff Award for the best receiver in the country. Jaxon-Smith Njigba, that was his last full season. It's pretty comparable, guys. You look at that. Almost, each of them almost had 100 catches, and then you got yards. I mean, very, very similar there. Pretty much the same average per catch. And then Jordan Addison does have way more touchdowns, which is why he came away with that Blitnikoff Award in 2021. But man, these two guys are both studs, and personally, I wouldn't mind the Steelers grabbing either one of these guys. But let me know in the comments section, which one would you rather add to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Type JSN if you would go Jaxon-Smith Njigba, or type JA if you'd rather go Jordan Addison. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, just go ahead, go into the comment section, use that time wisely by answering today's question. For me, I'm going to be putting in my JA for Jordan Addison. All right, now we got Michael Mayer, tight end from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And I really like Michael Mayer. I think that he's a really good player. I'm probably going to have him as my number 1 tight end in this year's draft class because he's a great balance. He's a good at pass catching. He had 67 receptions last year. And then you could also make the argument that right now he is the best blocking tight end in this year's NFL draft class. Darnell Washington is, I think, the only guy that really challenges him for that spot right now. But man, Michael Mayer, I think he's a fantastic prospect. He's going to be a really, really good tight end in this league for a long time. He can do both blocking and receiving, so you can keep him on the field for all 3 downs. But at the end of the day, I just don't think tight end is a position that the Steelers really need right now. You got Zach Gentry to play that blocking spot, and then you got two really good receiving tight ends in Pat Freiermuth and Connor Hayward. I don't think you really need to prioritize getting a tight end if he's there at number 17 overall. Now, we're going to continue this list in just a second, but first, take a look at these awesome Steelers draft hats. The official NFL draft hats have been released, and you can get the Steelers one on our website right now at chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat. We got a bunch of different styles. We got different types of bills. If you like the curve style, we got that. If you want the flat bill, we got that. I personally really like this black and gold design this year, guys. I think I'm going to get this one for myself. If you want to get yours today, you can get it at the Chat Sports website here, chatsports.com/Steelers draft hat to get your Steelers draft hat today. All right, now we're getting into the linemen here. Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle from Northwestern. I am a big fan of Skoronski, and some people think that he can't be a left tackle in the National Football League because his arms are pretty darn short, but I think that with the way that he plays the game, the hand placement, the footwork, the balance, I mean, he is such a technician at the position. I think that Rashawn Slater from the Chargers, who has shown that, if you have shorter arms but you're a technician at the position, you play with great technique, you can make it as a left tackle in this league. I think Skoronski has what it takes to be a left tackle, and if he ends up in black and gold, I think he will be that left tackle next season. Then you get to Broderick Jones, who could be the best fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers going into 2023, and if he's there at number 17, I think this is who the Steelers end up taking. He has incredible lower body strength. He's got just tree trunks for legs, man. This guy can just move people at the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what the Steelers are looking for right now, transitioning to that power run game. You need guys that can impose their will on opposing defenders. Broderick Jones can absolutely do that for you. Last year, a 78.2 PFF grade. Pretty darn good. Didn't allow a sack in the SEC, the best conference in the country. And, although he could get a little bit more polish in his pass sets, he could be a little bit more on balance. He could be, his hand placement could get better at times. I think he's one heck of a prospect, and he's going to be a day one left tackle in the National Football League. And then finally, my number one offensive tackle in this year's draft class overall, Paris Johnson Jr. I think this guy is a natural at the position at 6'6", 310 pounds. This guy can play in a power scheme. He can play in a zone scheme. He's a great mover at that size. He's a very natural mover in pass protection. He plays with good balance. Now, he's mostly just a two-hand puncher right now. Like, his hands are so powerful that he could get away with just being a two-hand puncher in college. He's going to have to learn how to use each hand separately in the NFL against some of those more savvy pass rushers that you have in the National Football League, but I think that's something that he could absolutely pick up. He's a fantastic prospect. He's the number one guy on my board. And speaking of number one, this should be the number one priority for the Steelers heading into the 2023 NFL Draft in the first round. I think that if you can walk away with one of those top three offensive tackles, I think that you are in good shape, and you can build that picket fence to protect Kenny Pickett for years to come. So let me know, would you trade up if it meant that the Steelers could go get a left tackle in round one? Type TU if you would trade up, or if you want to stay put and play your cards, type SP in the comment section. Then the only defensive tackle here that Matt Miller has for the Steelers is Jalen Carter. Now, here's the thing, guys. Jalen Carter, on tape, he is as special as any prospect I have ever seen from the defensive tackle position. This guy is great in the run game. This guy is great rushing the passer. He collapses the pocket. He's got great power and speed and athleticism. This guy has it all on tape. The problem is he's been dealing with some legal issues right now. Apparently, there's some behavior concerns, and plain simply, his pro day was straight up maybe the worst pro day I've ever seen. He went out there and he couldn't even finish the workout because he was tired and he was having cramps. Like, that is not something you want to put out there right before somebody's going to invest a top 10 potential draft pick in you. And, if I just don't think Carter's going to make it to the Steelers at 17, because I think he's such a generational talent at the defensive tackle position. In that position, having a great pass rusher on the interior, that's something that just doesn't come around very often. I think he'll be a top 10 pick. There's a decent chance that he still goes in the top 5. I just don't think he's going to be there for the Steelers, and even if he is, I'm not sure if I would target him. And then you got Devon Witherspoon. We're getting into the corners here. Last couple names. Devon Witherspoon, I mean, right now between him and Christian Gonzalez, we'll get to him in a second, they're vying for the top spot, and it's close. If there's anybody in this draft class that's going to be the Sauce Gardner of this class, in my opinion, it's going to be Devon Witherspoon. He has some of the best tape, if not the best college tape I have ever seen. This guy just sticks to people. His instincts are it's like he can read the mind of the receiver. He just knows what they're going to do before they do it. This guy is incredibly good. He's a little bit light at 6'1", 180, but you know what? I think he has the frame to build up that just a little bit, and I think he's going to be a really, really good player in the National Football League right away. And then speaking of guys that are going to be good right away, Christian Gonzalez. Now, whereas Devon Witherspoon is more of a press corner, I think Gonzalez is more of a zone corner. Okay, so Oregon plays mostly off man, so they play off zone coverage. That's what they do at Oregon. I think he's a fantastic fit for the Washington Commanders. Could he fit in the Steelers system where they kind of mix things up? Absolutely. I think he has the physical profile to be a good press corner. 6'2", 201 pounds, has the most fluid hips I think I've ever seen in a cornerback prospect, and that's saying something. This guy is a fantastic athlete. He is built the way that you want a number one cornerback in the National Football League to be built, and he's going to be one heck of a player. If he ends up being a Steeler, I'm not going to bat an eye one bit. And then finally, on Matt Miller's list here, we got Joey Porter Jr., a lot of Steelers fans' favorite to go at number 17 overall, and he should be one of the favorites. I mean, he is perfectly built for this Steelers defense, what Mike Tomlin likes in a press corner. He is long. He is big at 6'2", 198 pounds. He's really good in both press and off coverage, in my opinion. You know, he's a little bit, I think his upside is limited just a little bit because he doesn't have the most fluid hips in the world, and his short area quickness could be better. He might actually be better as a strong safety than outside cornerback, to be completely honest with you. But I think that he's got the physical profile to play either. And in this Steelers defense, where he's got time to develop behind Patrick Peterson, I think it's the perfect spot for him. And if he's there at 17, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he's wearing black and gold in 2023. Now, after all these 10 names here, that's going to do it for that list. But they left out one key draft target that I think has a really good chance of being picked by the Steelers at number 17 overall, and that's Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. Now, right now, I have Deonte Banks ranked above Joey Porter Jr. because I think Deonte Banks, he can do it all, man. He can do it all. He's got much more fluid hips than Joey Porter Jr., in my opinion. He plays the game with an insanely high IQ. In Maryland, they played everything. They played zone. They played press. They played off. They played quarters. They played cover six. They played everything in that Maryland defense. It's an NFL defense, and Deonte Banks just mastered it all. He is a fantastic prospect. To me, he's the number 3 guy just behind Christian Gonzalez and Devon Witherspoon. Those top 3 guys are some of the best cornerback prospects that we've seen in the last couple of years, in my opinion. And Deonte Banks, to not list him as a first-round draft prospect, I think it's just ludicrous. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know what Matt Miller is seeing on tape, because this guy is a fantastic prospect at 6'2", 205 pounds with the oily hips that he has. He's just so good, and I think he's going to be a top 20 pick, and I would love for him to be a Steeler next season. So overall, I think it's a good list. They didn't have Deonte Banks on there, which is kind of criminal, but that's all right. Overall, I think it's a good list of the 10 prospects that could be there for the Steelers. I think they'll probably be looking more at offensive tackle and cornerback if they're going to stay at number 17 overall. But there's also the chance that they trade down and take a guy like Jordan Addison or Jaxon-Smith Njigba. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what the Steelers do, and I can't wait to talk about it with you more as the weeks progress here. So grade ESPN's list of round 1 draft targets for me in the comments section. A, B, C, D, or F. Get it down in the comments right now. For me, I'm going to give them an A-. They didn't have Deonte Banks on there, so I'm not going to give them a perfect A, but it's pretty darn good, and I think it's pretty self-evident if I'm being completely honest with you. So here's the thing, guys. If you want to go follow me on social media, you want to send me a message, you want to send me an idea, go ahead, go on Twitter at Jack_Sperry or on Instagram at SpareDog.football. And not Webb's World, man. If you're watching this video right now, you won our Steelers Talk Real One sign on yesterday's Steelers Talk Live. Have not heard from you, so go on either Twitter or Instagram. You can find me either here. Send me a direct message. My DMs are open, and we can get your contact information so we can get that shipped out to you. All right, Yenzers, that's going to do it for me today. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.